Hello and welcome to a brand new season of Gametime Situation. I'm Brendan Bittner.
And I'm Matt Brubaker. We have a packed show for you tonight. We'll take a look at the Ashland University football team and we'll tell you which AU team is off to a historic start.
Well, Matt, it's time for us to make our own historic start, and it's time for you to make your grand Gametime debut.
I'm excited, so let's go.
What time is it?
It's game time. Hoop!
The 15th ranked Ashland football team took the field on August 29th against 25th ranked Bloomsburg with high expectations, coming off last season's Division II playoff appearance. The Eagles seemed to live up to those expectations in the first half. Billy Cundiff started the game 17 for 18 passing, and the Eagles looked on their way to victory with a 35-14 lead at halftime. But Ashland came out of the locker room flat, surrendering touchdowns on the Huskies' first 3 possessions as Bloomsburg tied the game. The Huskies added another touchdown to start the fourth quarter to take the lead 42-35. But the Eagles held on long enough to tie the game with 3:05 to play when Cundiff found Joe Horn in the end zone for a 39-yard touchdown strike, tying the game. Bloomsburg stuck a fork in the Eagles, though, as Kevin Demalski ran 29 yards for a score with less than a minute to go. It was Ashland's first non-conference loss since 2003 to Edinboro and sent the Eagles to 24th in the national poll. So, Matt, was Ashland able to overcome the Bloomsburg loss at home against Ferris State?
Unfortunately for the Eagles, they followed it up with an even more gut-wrenching defeat. The Bulldogs and Eagles locked in a back-and-forth battle for much of the afternoon. Ferris State's defense, led by All-American tackle Jake Visser, disrupted just about anything the Eagles wanted to do with the football. Ashland could not get the running game going at all as Harvey ran for just 47 yards on 21 attempts. Cundiff was largely ineffective with the passing game, going 19 for 37 with 226 yards and 2 touchdowns. The Eagles took a 24-19 lead with just over 4 minutes to play in the fourth, but once again Ashland's opponent scored in the last minute to take a 25-24 lead. Harvey returned the ensuing kickoff to the Ferris State 44-yard line to put Ashland in prime field position. 3 plays moved the Eagles to the 15-yard line with 3 seconds to play. So trailing by just 1 point, freshman Greg Berkshire came out for the 32-yard field goal. The Bulldogs linebacker Kevin Noe jumped the count, though, and blocked the field goal to keep Ashland winless on the season. It won't get easier for the Ashland team this week as they travel all the way up to the Upper Peninsula to play 2-0 Michigan Tech on Saturday. So after all that football heartbreak, we're going to take our first timeout. We'll be back with more Game Time Situation right after this.
Parents, there's something you can do to protect your kids from drugs and alcohol. Combine ground beef with egg, tomato sauce, breadcrumbs, and spices. Bake in an oven-safe pan at 350 for 50 minutes. Serve hot.
This is Jamie Lee Curtis. Children who eat dinner with their families are less likely to smoke, drink, or use drugs. So, have dinner together every day.
Delicious.
A message from CASA, the National Center on Addiction and Substance Abuse at Columbia University.
My name's Andy McDonald. I ride this useless wooden toy for a living. It's hard. I've been doing it for 13 years. I'm still lame. I do a trick called a 540. Took me a good 6 years to learn. There's a whole generation of skateboarders out there that are just as talented athletically as any basketball or football player. It takes somebody that's not going to be afraid to fall down a lot, because you definitely will fall down. You're not a failure until you refuse to get back up. Drugs are only going to hinder what I'm trying to do. That right there is my idea of getting high.
Is she thirsty or diabetic? Is he tired or arthritic? Subtle behavioral changes can be early signs of disease in pets. These changes are often less obvious in cats, which can be better than dogs at hiding illness. But a wellness exam from your veterinarian twice a year can help detect, treat, or prevent many health problems before they become serious. So call your veterinarian and schedule your pet's wellness exam today.
As parents, We do whatever is necessary to ensure the health of our children. Sadly, most parents don't realize that their child's first eye exam with an eye doctor should be between the age of 6 and 12 months. I urge you to take your baby to an optometrist for a comprehensive eye assessment. It can literally change your child's vision of the future.
Infancy optometrists offer a no-charge eye assessment for infants 12 months old or younger. Call today to find an optometrist near you.
Welcome back to Game Time Situation. The Ashland volleyball team has no shortage of milets under its collective belt this season. They started the season in Tampa, Florida for the Tampa Classic, losing their first 2 matches at the tournament. St. Leo took 3 of 4 games from the Eagles, who started the season as the 23rd ranked team in the country. The team split the first 2 games, but St. Leo took the final 2 by scores of 25-20 and 26-24. Ashland followed that up with a loss to host Tampa, who entered as a top 10 team in the nation. Tampa swept the Eagles in 3 games. Matt, how did the Eagles do in day 2 of the tournament?
The Eagles came out firing on all cylinders, winning both of their day 2 matches as they knocked off another top 10 team, Florida Southern, in back-and-forth 5-game affair. The Eagles fell behind 6-2 in the 5th set, but the Eagles rallied to tie the game at 10. Ashland went on to win 15-13 on a missed set by Florida Southern. In their second match of the day, the Eagles took care of Central Oklahoma in 4 games. Marina Santos led the Eagles with 17 kills, and Arian Martin added 19 digs. The Eagles then came home for a couple days before heading out to Alaska. Brendan, how did they do in the last frontier?
It's cold up there. The Eagles followed their 2-2 performance in Tampa by going 2-1 in Alaska. Maybe they're just more suited to the cold weather. In any case, Ashland started the tournament with a 3-1 win over St. Cloud after dropping the first game of the match. Santos tallied a double-double with 13 kills and 11 digs, while Anicia Benton notched 18 kills. New setter Andrea Fritz, who was replacing All-American setter Lindsey Warren, tallied 47 assists in the match. The Eagles then took on Catawba, who made quick work of the Eagles in straight sets. Amanda Stefanski totaled 10 kills and a .320 kill percentage. Ashland then came out flat in their final match of their cross-country travels. The Eagles lost the first 2 games to Alaska Nanook before taking the final 3 games by scores of 25-23, 25-17, and 15-12. Santos again posted a double-double with 13 kills and 17 digs. And Benton and Stefanski put up 19 and 12 kills respectively. Fritz posted 53 assists in the match. The Eagles remain on the road for the next 5 matches before finally playing a match at Cates Gymnasium on September 26th. Now with volleyball still on the road, we'll talk about one team off to their best start ever. Who it is may surprise you. We'll tell you about it after this timeout. We'll be back with more Game Time Situation right after this.
So, what have we got here? Sometimes you feel tired. You can't seem to lose those extra pounds off your midsection. And your joints hurt when you take the stairs. Well, you're getting older. But I'm happy to say that there's some simple things we can do to keep you happy and healthy for years to come. We can also lower your risk for some serious diseases the older population is often subject to. Proper nutrition is more important than ever. Your body has changed, you know. Not as many treats. A basic exercise plan, lots of walks and fresh air, and most importantly, come and see me for twice-yearly checkups to help ensure the best possible quality of life. Now, how does that sound? Good boy.
Improve the quality of life for your elderly pet. Schedule twice-yearly checkups that include preventive care and regular lab work. A message from the veterinary members of the American Animal Hospital Association.
Do you think you'd notice if you were missing half of your money, or half your friends, your better half, your half and half? What if you were missing half of your kidney function? You'd think you'd notice, but you could have chronic kidney disease right now and not even know it. According to the National Kidney Foundation, 20 million people have chronic kidney disease, and 20 million more may be at risk and not even know it. Chronic kidney disease is a growing epidemic. Anyone with high blood pressure, diabetes, or a family history of chronic kidney disease is at risk. Certain ethnic groups are at an even higher risk. Early diagnosis and treatment of this disease and its complications are vitally important. To get the whole story on chronic kidney disease, talk to your doctor and visit the National Kidney Foundation at kidney.org or call 1-800-622-9010 for a free brochure. Because when it comes to chronic kidney disease, you might not know the half of it.
Welcome back to Game Time Situation. A season ago, Ashland's men's soccer team put together the worst season in its history, going 0-17-1. That's right, they were winless on the year, 0-17-1. But talk about a turnaround. The Eagles jumped out of the gate quickly against Missouri S&T in their first game, as Adam Spanbauer knocked in 2 goals in the first 20 minutes of the game. Missouri would respond with a pair of goals to close the half, but the Eagles would have folded last year. They picked up their play this time. Spanbauer put up his 3rd goal for a hat trick, and Tom Mangotic had the difference maker with a converted penalty kick in the 65th minute for a 4-3 win. 2 days later, Slippery Rock came to Ashland to take on the newly resurgent Eagles, and again in the first 20 minutes, Ashland took a 2-0 lead. This time they needed no second half dramatics, staving off the Rock 2-1. It was Spanbauer and Mangotic connecting again in this game, earning Spanbauer Player of the Week honors, an award he might grow accustomed to. So the Eagles proved they could win at home. Did they do it at home, Matt? Did they do it on the road, Matt?
The Eagles were just as feisty on their trip to Indiana to face Indianapolis and St. Joseph's. Ashland staked a 1-0 victory at Indy, the lone goal coming on a Tom Mangotic penalty kick in the 50th minute to clinch the win. Keeper Ryan Cruz stopped 2 shots on net, but the Eagles were outshot overall 13-6. The next game was a high-scoring affair at St. Joseph's. Ross Ashley became the first Eagle not named Spanbauer or Mangotic to score this season when he deposited a second-minute goal to take an early lead. Indy responded, though, and the game was tied at 1 going into halftime. Spanbauer took over the second half from there. The junior tallied his 2nd hat trick with all his goals coming in the second half, the final goal giving Ashland its final 5-3 winning margin. Kelly Desmond also scored in the second half, and Mangotic, Torrey Korsag, and Kenny Hewitt all had assists in the game for the 2nd straight week. Spanbauer earned GLIAC Player of the Week honors, and he is tied for the most goals in the nation with 7 on the season. Their 4-0 start is their best start in program history. The Eagles are on the field right now taking on Urbana at the AU Soccer Complex. So, Brendan, the men's team is off to a terrific start. How are the women doing?
The women's soccer team started its season against Missouri S&T with a 3-1 loss. AU started 5 freshmen in the match, and the inexperience may have shown. Alicia Van Zanten scored the first goal of the match to give Ashland a 1-0 lead, but Missouri put up the next 3 goals, including the tying goal, just 33 seconds after Ashland's. The Eagles' second game against Missouri St. Louis belonged to Ashland striker Casey Snyder. She knocked in her first goal in the 74th minute of a game that struggled to find any rhythm early. Then, while just trying to ice the clock in the 90th minute, Snyder arched a high bender from the corner into the net to secure Ashland's 2-0 win. After the win, the Eagles also traveled to Indiana for matches with Indianapolis and St. Joseph's. How did they do in the Hoosier State, Matt?
The Eagles did not get off to a strong start in the great state of Indiana. Indy scored in the 25th minute and never looked back. They scored again in the 47th minute to provide the winning 2-0 margin. Ashland managed just 2 shots against the Greyhounds' defense while failing to muster much of an offensive attack. Ashland's second game of the trip was a much different story. The Eagles jumped to a 3-0 lead going into halftime as Snyder posted a pair of goals and Hannah Brown added the other as Ashland drilled 13 first-half shots. St. Joseph scored in the 48th minute, but Snyder eliminated any hopes of a comeback by completing her hat trick with a goal in the 67th minute. Ashland ripped 31 shots on the game, unloading a vicious offensive attack. Ashland keeper Krista Herbst stopped a half-dozen shots in the game.
Now, before we head to our final timeout, there's been a new update. The women's soccer team playing right now against Urbana has just continued that offensive attack, winning 5-2 on the strength of Snyder's second hat trick of the season. So we've talked about AU football, volleyball, and then went back to football. You know, the world's football. After this timeout, we'll check in with the runners and golfers. We'll be back with more Game Time Situation right after this.
Sure, my neighbors Gene and Louise, they may be superheroes with superpowers, but that doesn't make them so super at saving energy and money. I mean, I like them and all, but when Gene uses that power vision to cook dinner,
Honey.
or Or when Louise or Starbright tries to save a little on the lighting bill?
Mom, a little light?
I may not be able to harness the power of the elements, but I save significant cash and help the environment with appliances, electronics, and windows featuring the Energy Star label. And I improved my home energy efficiency with insulation. My thermostat? Watch this. I'm just kidding. It's programmable. I don't have to lift a finger to save on AC and heating.
Mom, Dad's making fondue again.
So discover your own energy-saving superpowers. Go to ase.org/consumers.
1,200 American youth run away from their homes every day. The National Runaway Switchboard is here to help. 1-800-RUNAWAY. If you are a runaway, thinking about running away from home, or a parent or guardian concerned about issues facing your child, call us 24 hours a day. 1-800-RUNAWAY. In times of crisis, hope is just a phone call away. 1-800-RUNAWAY.
Across America, service learning is helping students improve their grades and their communities by connecting the classroom with community service. Working together, students solve real problems, build new skills, and apply their knowledge in a whole new way. Inside the classroom and out, service learning opens new doors and brings learning to life. Get your school involved. Visit learnandserve.gov to find out how.
Welcome back to the final segment of Game Time Situation. The men's cross-country team started its season at Kent State 2 weeks ago. Sophomore Brock Reaver led the Eagles with a time of 19 minutes and 8 seconds on the 6-kilometer short course and finished 16th in the race. Sophomore Cameron Johnson finished with a time of 19 minutes and 43 seconds. And junior Tim Haglund placed 26th with a time of 20 minutes and 8 seconds. Ashland's next meet is September 13th at Bowling Green in the Mel Brott Invitational. Matt, how did the women's team do at Kent State?
The women's cross-country team also started its season at Kent State. Freshman Abby Selhorst paced the Eagles with a time of 15 minutes and 41 seconds on their 4-kilometer short course. Sophomore Leah Allen, junior Brian Winters, junior Amanda McConnell, and sophomore Amber Chase were the next to finish for the Ashland team, finishing in 16th through 19th places in the Invitational. The women's team is also in competition on September 13th in the Mel Brott Invitational at Bowling Green. Brendan, that covers the cross-country squads. How has the men's golf team been this season?
Ashland University's men's golf team opened its season last weekend by placing 8th out of 13 teams at the Northern Michigan Invitational. AU put together a team score of 884. Grand Valley State finished first with a team score of 847, and Indianapolis shot 858 as the runner-up. Wayne State carded an 871 to finish third. Justin Huber of Indianapolis shot an 8 under par to win the medalist honors. Kurt Valley of Ferris State shot 5 under to finish second. Ashland's top score was turned in by John Furlong, who finished tied for 25th. He shot an 8 over par 222. The men's golf team is next in action September 20th through the 22nd in the NCAA Regional Tournament. Matt, what kind of start has the women's team had?
AU opened the season by placing 6th out of 16 teams at the Ferris State Invitational. Sophomore Elise Leonard led the Eagles by placing 7th and shooting a 153. Senior Stephanie Schweinwertner shot 154 and ended the event in a tie for 9th place. The Eagles were at Grand Valley State's Laker Fall Classic on September 1st and 2nd. AU was 9th out of 14 teams, scoring a 647. California of Pennsylvania won the tourney with a team score of 606. Indianapolis was the runner-up, and Ferris State claimed 3rd place. Ashland's top performance was turned in by freshman Aaron Mashif, who finished in a tie for 14th place and shot a 156. The women's golf team plays at TPC Sawgrass on September 21st and 22nd in the Queen's University of Charlotte Invitational.
Well, that does it for our first broadcast of Game Time Situation, and I think it went pretty well, don't you, Matt?
I totally agree. I could get used to this, Brendan.
Now, Matt, I know you're a big Ohio State fan. How do you think this game with USC will go for the Buckeyes?
Honestly, Brendan, I think it all depends on how Chris Beanie Wells will play in the football game. You know he's been injured because of the Week 1 incident with Youngstown State, but it all depends on if he's healthy enough to run, and if he is, how well will he run against USC and their great defense. And the funny thing is, Ohio State keeps winning football games, but they keep dropping in the standings. So a loss here, will it drop them a lot, drop them a little? I don't really know.
Probably a lot of national people don't really give them a lot of credit. They play in a weak Big Ten conference, but this definitely could be a statement game for Ohio State to come out and beat USC. I think it comes down to whether Ohio State can come out and get an early lead. If they get an early lead, they can manage the game from there with their running backs Wells, and then Brandon Sane. They can kind of get a running game going, and then Todd Beckman is a quarterback who's not, he won't throw the big ball, but he manages the game well, doesn't make a lot of mistakes. So we'll see how he can respond if he can get an early lead. Now, if they fall behind, it's anybody's game. USC is very explosive on offense as well. So we'll see how that'll turn out if Ohio State falls way behind.
One quick point. Beckman, he's a decent quarterback for that Buckeyes offense, but recently in big games, he's kind of struggled because he hasn't had the experience. I looked for him at least to play his game, not get all excited about the hype of the football game. If he plays well, I think the Buckeyes can win, but it's up to him and his performance and Beanie Wells and his ankle.
All right, and it'll be a good game. I'm sure you'll be sitting on the couch and watching that game.
Watching it intently, probably taping it. If they lose, throw the tape out.
Exactly. Well, that ends our first episode of Game Time Situation. Thanks for joining us here on TV2. Have a good night.
Good night, everybody.